Hi, how's everyone? Thanks for coming back. Hello and welcome if you are new. I'm glad you found me. We have the Strings of Fate reading today and story time. You know, I love story time. The Fates, also called the Morai. They were the personification of destiny and represented the fact that human destiny is not separate from everything, but it is intertwined with the laws of natural order, from the cycles of day and night to the laws behind the stars being born and extinguished. The Morai decided the fate of all things. They weren't gods, they were apart from the gods. They could not be bribed, begged, or bothered. They were the only beings even the gods were afraid of because they represented the past, the present, and the future. Their purpose was to help us accept our allotment, our gifts like health and wealth and love and luck, wisdom, passion, power, joy, and sorrows. Everything described in our birth charts. The fates spin the threads of all beings, gods and mortals alike, measured the length and cut it when it was done. Each of the three sisters had a role and represented birth, life, and death. The first Morai was Clotho, the spinner. She represents birth, or more accurately, the preparation for birth. She represents the making. She spun the thread of human life, determined the components in the thread. In yarn and textiles, thread, string, rope, etc., has different kinds of fibers twisted together. One skein might have more wool than flax, some have silk, and some are more lint and hair. In human lives, we see those ingredients in our birth charts. Some have a few water placements, some an abundance of fire. Some have no luck, others are born to prosperity. Clotho assembles the components and spins the thread and our lives into existence. It then passes to her sister. Lachesis, the allotter, she measured the thread of life with her measuring rod, which was the distaff. If you think of spinning like a spinning wheel, she held the distaff, which was the measuring rod. She also was said to counsel souls about the lives they have chosen or were about to choose, and informs us of our choices in managing what we're given. She represents time and karma, the life lived actively, and the time given to do it. When the measure of a person is accounted for, lessons learned, karma balanced, and the contract fulfilled, she then passes the thread to her other sister. Atropos, the inevitable. She represented death and used her scissors to cut the thread when time was up. From her name, we get the word atrophy. Ugh, I hate ads. Atrophy, meaning decline. Where am I? Decline, diminishing, and decay. In Roman mythology, she was called Morta, from which we get mortal and mortality. Death comes to all things. Atropos was the executor of destiny, executor being related to executioner, the one who swings the axe, or in her case, the one who holds the shears. She was the most feared of the three because she was incorruptible, unyielding, and final. You may wonder why we don't hear more about the fates in mythology, and the reason is because they function outside the scope of life. Now, I did some research, and there are a few mentions of them being involved in some of the goings on of the gods and the demigods, but there's not much. They were definitely a part and above the drama. um, they functioned outside the scope of life and could not be swayed or bribed and didn't interfere or participate. So they couldn't be used to change anything. Like I said, there were a few instances where they did get involved. Very few, though. It was hard to find. Like I said, even the gods themselves were afraid of the Morai or the fates, because at some point they also would experience the cutting of their own threads. So this spread, the strings of fate, is essentially a past, present, future spread. So we'll look at factors that are part of the situation, um, and are integral in creating it. We'll look at how the course of things are progressing and the results when the circumstances conclude. The way I'm doing this is the first pile will be what is being spun. Okay. So that'll be let's see, the factors that are part of the situation, what's being spun. And the second pile I'm going to take as counsel. Okay, how the course of things are progressing. And remember, I said Lachesis was the counselor. She is going to in this pile. We're going to look at um, how we can manage the gifts that we were given, negative and positive. Okay, and then at the end, um, when the circumstances conclude, we're going to see how it will end. But I'm getting more personal responsibility for the viewer than it's going to be like fate induced, even though these are the fates. To me, this is how you can function after you end this certain situation, whether good or bad. And according to this, it's pretty good. So, what are the components here? Okay, what is being spun? In the first pile, we have the Seven of Cups on the back side. This is somebody who may be overreacting a little bit about what they see, um, or what they're imagining that they see. These Seven of Cups uh, often give like imagination. I don't want to say delusion, but it's possible. But this is something in the mix where hmm, you're feeling a little overwhelmed. See, this person is waist deep in like this swampy water, and it's dark, and there's all these cups around him. This is him imagining, though. Um, this may feel like there's a desperation to the situation where you might reach out and choose something out of desperation that um, you didn't really count on. This may be something reached out for in desperation. And since this is cups, this could be something that have to do with love or emotional fulfillment. Somebody feels a little bit like they're drowning. Like this person, like I said, is waist deep in this swampy water. And um there may be panic rising in this situation, because the water seems to be like rising, and they're like, um I need one of these. I gotta pick something. I gotta pick something. And there, you may go into picking something that you want to be emotionally fulfilling, but it could be what's that word? In haste. It could be a hasty decision. Don't make any hasty decisions when it comes to love. This card says don't overreact. You are okay. Look for allies and get perspective. So that's part of what's being spun here. Is there's an element here of maybe panic rising, um, fear that something might drown you, drown the person. Um, I heard I can't swim through this, but it's like that meme where the person is drowning and they're crying and they're looking for help, but when you look under the water, you can see that they're scrunched up in like 2 feet of water, and if they would just stand up, they'd be fine. It's like that kind of feeling. So there's a feeling of panic here. Somebody feels like they're not okay, but they are. Okay? Look for allies and get perspective, but don't do anything rash. Underneath that, it's because you've got the Nine of Wands here. This is being tested, but the war is over. The worst is over. In the last reading, we got that rainbow card after the storm warning. The worst is over. Okay, don't do anything rash. You are okay. This says set boundaries and heal. So this represents the Eight of Wands that came in before, that momentum, that action, a changing of the tide. Some kind of information came in, some kind of communication, some kind of active help or change in the circumstance came in. And when the Eight of Wands lands, the next card, the Nine, you see the person all beat up, the helmet's on the ground, they're bandaged, and those Eight Wands that came in before have been formed into like a fence or boundary marker, something that separates you in this healing energy from what is on the other side of that. Okay? And in this moment, part of what is being spun here is you have to set boundaries and you have to respect them, and you have to make sure that others respect your boundaries too. Underneath that, we've got the Hierophant on the front side. This is Dogma. This is Taurus energy, very traditional, sometimes religious to a fault. Not any of the Tauruses I've known, but the Hierophant represents an energy like the Pope, and he is the keeper, preserver, and teacher of divine law. So there's something here where you may be stuck in some expectations of tradition. Okay, and what do we say about tradition? It's just peer pressure from the dead. All right, it's like you're supposed to do things this way because this is the way they've always been done. But there's dogma here. There's no room in that paradigm for change or new truths. It's just sticking to the old ways because that's the way it's always been done. And there's sometimes an element of guilt here where if it's always been done this way, it should be for a reason. And sometimes people think, well, it's always been done this way because this is the way it's supposed to work. But it's not working. So it must be something of my failing that I can't get this tried and true and tested structure to work with what I'm doing. So I have to keep trying. But the warning here is that going through the motions and doing these rote like rituals and stuff just to keep the tradition is not going to help you move forward. It's going to keep you in that rut. This counsels about dogma is not enlightenment. You have to look underneath the mask. Okay, in front of the Hierophant here, we've got two keys, a gold key and a silver key, representing the masculine and the feminine, the ego and the emotions, the sun and the moon. These are the same keys that the High Priestess has because that's his counterpart. So this Taurus energy, so part of how do I put this? Part of the I don't know another word for this. It's the ingredients in the situation, but I can't think of a word to describe the components in this. that doesn't sound like a recipe, like the word ingredient. So part of the issue here that is being spun is there's expectations here that are based in tradition, but not necessarily in logic. And this may be why you're not feeling, this may be why somebody is feeling kind of panicked, like they're just going to grab something and try it. Okay? But you have to be in this, you're in this energy of there's exhaustion here, and there's hurt here. Somebody's been through hell, and you're being given an opportunity to create boundaries. I'm assuming against this Hierophant energy. Remember, Dogma is not enlightenment. Just because you can repeat what you've been taught does not mean that you're any more connected to divine truth. Okay? And this, I believe, is somebody who's going to try to figure out what their personal truth is. Underneath that, we have the victory card, but it is on the backside. So this is inequity of recognition, feeling overlooked. There's resentment here, and a reminder to value everyone, including yourself. So somebody's been beaten down to shit here under the guise of you had to move in some sort of traditional manner. Now the council. We have the Hanged Man. Pisces energy, this is important soul work. Surrender to the stillness and surrender awareness. Surrender period awareness. Okay. This is the Hangman, he put himself in this position, okay? Not the position as a whole, in this reflective position. The old cards, this was represented by a tightrope walker, like an acrobat, and in order for him to come down off of the high wire, he had to suspend himself and be lowered, right? But in that time frame, in between being on the rope and coming back down to earth, it represented a liminal moment of just him in his own mind. So he's suspended here. It's also reminiscent of Odin suspending himself against the tree in order to gain knowledge. This is like a moment of inner, what's the word? Inner perspective. This is soul work. So the counsel is go inward and do that soul work, okay? Even if it turns you upside down, you need this moment to come back to yourself. Here's more counsel. We've got the 5 of Wands on the front side. Now, usually this is conflict, rivalry, and fighting, arguing, things like that. In this deck, they add another another energy to this, where it's sparring and debate, but it's healthy verbal challenging. This is a safe confrontation. So this is an environment where you are safe to bounce ideas off of people. You're safe to spar with them. You're safe to argue, but not like with anger or malice. It's more of I want clarity on this, and I want to give you clarity on this. And there may be disagreement here, but there's not battle, right? I don't know how else to explain this. This is safe, healthy debate. Okay, this is productive confrontation. So this may be telling you that you need to go inward and face this own inner conflict, but that is a safe place. And underneath that, you've got the Four of Pentacles on the front side. This is possessiveness and materialism and insecurity. That's why you need to reassess, because you're feeling insecure. And if you're feeling insecure about this financial or this materialism that you don't have, you're gonna reach out like with this Seven of Cups and just grab onto anything, and it might not be to your best benefit. It's just out of desperation. Okay, desperation is a stinky cologne. Underneath that, you've got the Five of Cups. This is regret and disappointment and some kind of love lost. But there is hidden love to be salvaged, and I don't think that whoever this is going to realize that until they go inward and really sift through the things that they're trying to hang on to. The third position here, what is being cut? Is that what this is? Hang on, let me go back to my notes real quick. Sorry about the noise. How it will end, or what it will take to cut what tethers you to this situation, okay? What this is going to take to free yourself, to put an end to this. To put an end to this, we've got the Strength card on the front side. Wonderful. The balance between power and peace. This is the Empress off her throne, wrestling with the Lion of the ego. This is Leo. This is like Venus, which rules Taurus and Libra, coming down to wrestle with Leo the lion, ego, the sun. Okay, the key to this is power, the balance between power and peace. The Empress represents peace and abundance, nurturing, growth, manifestation, beauty and love and sharing. And the lion represents the ego. This is pride. It can be prideful. Where was that other card? Something about So when you can get a hold of the ego, and they're saying that when you can get a hold of the ego and let it express itself without that pride, that negative, prideful, fluffed up sense of self, you can find power in that peace. And then when you can exert your own power, you can be peaceful. That's where the strength comes from. Underneath that, we've got a great Three of Cups. Now, the Three of Cups did sort of make an appearance over here in this Five of Cups of loss, because the Five of Cups shows 3 cups dumped over. That's the Three of Cups that we have here. But this is positive, so it almost feels like there's a redemption here of this friend group. This is the gathering for pleasure and celebration, praise, tribute, and blessings. The friend group that has your back, sings your praises, pours you drinks, celebrates everything with you. So you have strength here, you have a new friend group, and underneath that we've got temperance, that's Sagittarius energy. This is what is needed to restore harmony. Where are you out of balance? So when you do cut the thread and you're freed from whatever the situation is, it's almost like you're brought back down to the basics, and you're given the choice in the new cycle. What do you need to rebalance, to restore the harmony? What do you need to restore harmony? You have to be really honest with yourself, because there's the energy here of there's something in, quote unquote, there's something in the tradition that's not conducive to this growth. Okay? It's taking a lot of strength. It's taking a lot of, I want to say companionship, but I mean allyship. There are allies here. Remember in the Seven of Cups, it says look for allies and get perspective. The next card was getting the perspective. And over here in the third pile, underneath strength, we've got the allies. Here come the allies. And then underneath that, we've got temperance. This is a rebalancing, a remixing, a recombining of things that maybe didn't work before. I feel like it didn't work before because it was stuck under that dogma from the Hierophant. It's like that's not how you're supposed to do things. That's not how we do things here. That's not how it's supposed to be done. That's not what I taught you. That's not the structures that you were raised in. That's not what you were taught to believe. Fuck all of that. Because look where it got you. It got you in a mire, in a swamp. Questioning everything, panicking because there's no answers. You feel like you're drowning and you feel like there's nobody there to pull you out. It's a feeling of abandonment, you know? In this time of need, the traditions failed you. And now you need to do this important soul work, surrender to what has been spun, okay? Like, fuck, I can't do anything about the past. I can't do anything about what has already come to fruition, what has already been birthed. Can't do anything about that. Only thing I can change is how I proceed from here. And you're being given a choice. You're being given a choice to abandon that old dogma, come to some real important debate with yourself. I say it's with yourself, but it could also very well be with other people around you. But since it's underneath the Hanged Man, which is like very personal, interpersonal, private soul work, and then you've got the card of debate. I think this is inner debate. Okay? And underneath that, you've got that Four of Pentacles. Whatever energy you're in right now, it's like you're keeping yourself from others. It's like you're being possessive over yourself. You're hoarding your energy. Okay? It's not quite materialism, but it can be part of it. Like, I'm not okay, so they're showing me the energy of somebody who like decided to step away from the church and now they're not tithing anymore. They've only got 4 pentacles. It's not a lot. It's not even enough to share. We don't get to sharing those pentacles until the 6 of Pentacles. So this is just one step past being recognized for your hard work. And now you're like a little bit of financial reward is starting to trickle in. And again, it could be energetic. This is anything you invest in. Anything you invest in mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, financially, health-wise, anything you invest in, time, thought, effort, money, anything like that, anything you invest in. And at this point, there's a stoppage of that investment. Okay? And then again, underneath that, because there was heartbreak there was disappointment here. It's like, fuck, I lost all my allies. That 3 of Cups that spilled. I lost all my allies. But there's a 2 of Cups behind that is being salvaged. There's sometimes a disagreement on, does this person in the 5 of Cups know that that 2 of Cups is back there? Some people interpret it as you're not looking at what's left, you're concentrating on what you lost. And in some interpretations, it's you're mourning what you lost, but you did it to protect what is possible. That Two of Cups, the possibility of coming back to love. Okay? Now, when this is over, or when you cut the thread, or when the circumstance is rectified, then you have this strength. You've got a new group of allies coming in, that Three of Cups. They're there to celebrate, lifting cup to you, right? There's waterfall and beautiful fields and plenty to share, and cups are full, and, chicks are half naked. You're strong. You're surrounded by friends, and you're in an energy, you will be in an energy of reformulating what is true and regaining some harmony for yourself. Okay, where are you out of balance? And put more into that. Okay, underneath that, we do have the Tower, because I believe once you come into this strength, everything changes. Everything changes. It's a wake-up call, right? It says it's a wake-up call. Look for weaknesses. Where are you vulnerable? And once you address that, then there's that new balance, that temperance energy. And you can go forward in a new energy of harmony and truth, self-truth. Self-truth, is that a thing? Personal truth? You're not deluding yourself anymore. Once you let go of that dogma, you won't be in Delulu land anymore. You'll be able to function in a more authentic way to lead you forward. Okay? I hope that made sense. We're going to get to the theme card. If that vibed with you, please leave a like. Leave a comment. Share, subscribe. I'm available for personal readings and birth chart inquiries. My information is in the description. My email, Venmo, and Cash App is down there. So leave a comment, email, like, subscribe. Let's get some final. This is only my second time doing this spread. I am going to be refining it a little bit. I just made it, so of course there's going to be some flaws in it that I want to address, but kind of like this. What's being made, how you're going to experience it, and when it's over, what's left. Something like that. Okay, let's get some for the collective, please, on this. Oh, shoot. I dropped two. We got a female family member coming through. Got the pendulum here. That hasn't come out before. Sorry for shaking the table. Okay. Spirit is listening. That's on top of that female family member. I might try to... they're saying to get an ancestor card after this, so I will. Pendulum here. You're swinging between two extremes. Okay? That's here. I'm going to put this here with temperance, because she's all about balancing things. Balancing, harmonizing. We've got Saturn here. Saturn is the god of time. He deals karma. He rules restriction and deadlines and deep work, hard work, okay? I always give the deep soul work, even though it's Pisces energy, I give that to Saturn because it's hard work and he keeps us on task. And the reason Saturn is so hard on us is because truly he's not trying to torment us. What he's trying to do is make us prepare us for the best reward we can have. Okay? But we have to we have to, how should I say this? We have to evolve in order to reach it, okay? And that's hard work, and it can be painful work, because to evolve, you need to shed old things, you need to shed old beliefs, you need to shed old things that held you back. You need to accept new things that may be foreign to you. You know, it almost feels like you need to transform, which, that makes sense, because Saturn is an aspect of death. We also have here the chipped cup card, is dissatisfaction and disappointment in the domestic home. I'm going to put that there with that Four of Cups. Let's get a few more. I will get an ancestor card for the female family member that is Spirit is listening. There's a telephone on here, old-fashioned telephone. Excuse me. Let's get a couple more, please, for the collective on this Strings of Fate reading. Okay, we've got soothe, and that means, heal yourself. I'm going to put that over here where the Eight of Wands was. Yeah, Nine of Wands here, soothe. Okay, the Nine of Wands is often called like the Wounded Warrior, the Wounded Warrior card. Somebody's been through hell, and it came out the other end bandaged and bruised and tired and bleeding and panting and spent, and now they're using that Eight of Wands as a boundary marker. Nobody from the old cycle is coming forward to disrupt my peace. I'm staying over here because I need to heal, and you will respect my boundaries. And that's part of that healing energy of the aloe vera. And this could be somebody got burned, and they need to they need to salve it. So put salve on it. Yeah. We've got the Wheel of Fortune. What goes around comes around. That just means that you may be at the bottom now, but you'll be at the top again. That also has like the feeling of karma. Oh, what's this? Oh, take a chance. That's the dice card. Roll the dice. Take a chance. Okay, pincushion tried to fall out 3 times. I forgot. I kind of forgot the symbolism that I found out about this, but it's talking about remaining sharp, be precise in your movements and your decisions. This is new projects and concentration. Also, there's an energy here of protection. It's talking about wards, and wards are like symbols that you put up that protect your surroundings. Now, in the old days, and maybe even now, needles were made with iron, and iron is very spiritual, very magical. It's a symbol of protection. So where there were like iron nails in the corners of the house, that was for protection. So it's like you're gonna weave together. Oh, weaving, that's interesting with this the threads of fate. Weaving protection as you create your new reality. Okay? As you create a new useful circumstance, you will weave into it your own protections. I hope that made sense. When I'm channeling, they show me pictures. Sometimes they'll say words, but a lot of times I'll have to try to describe what I'm seeing or feeling, and that's a toughie sometimes. We have the High Priestess here. That's the counterpart to the Hierophant. And this is again Pisces energy. This is sacred knowledge, knowing the truth. This is enlightenment without the dogma. Whereas before you had the Hierophant, which is dogma without enlightenment. So this time you got the High Priestess. In the deck, she is sitting on the throne, not speaking, eyes wide open, facing forward, sitting between two pillars. One is black and one is white. Behind her, there's a curtain that guards the inner sanctum of even higher wisdom. Once you learn the basics at her feet, you're ready to go through into the inner part of the temple and get the higher wisdom. Okay? The key to the High Priestess is that she teaches that the truth is somewhere in between the black and the white, which means you'll hear it from both sides, but wisdom, true wisdom, comes when you walk in the middle. Okay? This is divine feminine energy, deep intuition. She guards the subconscious. This is spiritual wisdom and high spiritual abilities, sacred knowledge, and knowing the truth. It's also an energy of keeping the receipts. Okay? She holds the scrolls of the Akashic Records, which is a record of everything that has happened in the universe since its inception, right? That's the symbolism here. Meaning she got the receipts. But she's not vocal about it. She just kind of watches people. Like, I see what you're doing, and I know your true motivations, but she's not going to say anything because everybody's got to learn their lessons in their own time. We've got the poison card here. The situation or something in it is toxic. Negative whisperings are here, and there's heavy energy around. And then right after that, we drop Mars. Where is Mars right now? Shit, I don't remember. But this is it in positive energy. It's power and action and competition. So we did have a lot of wands out here in this reading. We had the 9 of wands. We have the 6 of wands on the backside. We had the 5 of wands. There's a lot of active energy here. Some of it feels a little sour. So with that, there could be temper, there could be destruction, anger, aggression, but there's also drive and ambition and power. Okay? Balance it. Balance the two. Don't become a tyrant, but don't be a doormat either. And then the last one we have here is the Lego block. It just means go back to basics. Okay? Go back to the basics. Filter out everything that other people have said that you need, or you should want, or you should be, and go back to what you are just as a pure person. Just be honest with who you are at the base level and go from there. Okay, let's get that ancestor oracle message for this female family member, the spirit that is around. Let's see here. It's too many. Let's wake these up. I haven't used these in a while. Is there a message from the female family member here, please, for the collective? What's this? Oh, Shaolin Master. Okay, this says, be graceful in movement and action. I heard they're going to try to make you stumble, but if you step intuitively, you'll be able to sidestep anything else. Okay, let's get the book. Shaolin Master. The suggestion here may be that, whoever this female family member is coming forward, they may have been like into Tai Chi or martial arts, or Buddhism or something, to that effect. Let me pull this forward real quick so I can stand this up. Is that good? You see that? Shaolin Master? Okay, the message is slow and steady. Breathe and flow. Take a gentler approach. It says you're being guided to flow like water, blow like air, and connect with your purest intentions. Don't feel you need to rush ahead. A gentle approach will be more fruitful and rewarding. Move with subtlety and grace. Reach high, but also ask yourself how you can move with the flow of life rather than pushing against it. Do you have the capacity to refocus your gaze at this time? Can you slow down? It's kind of like you're being forced to slow down with that hanged man energy. You ain't going anywhere. Can you slow down or take more time to soften and breathe as you move forward? All of this will be incredibly beneficial for what happens next. I feel like that's mostly advice about this Seven of Cups because, like I said, somebody feels kind of panicked, water rising, it's up to your chest, you don't know what to pick, your allies seem gone, you need a fresh perspective, and Shaolin Master's telling you slow down. You are okay because the Seven of Cups here says don't panic, don't overreact. You are okay. You will find allies. And Shaolin Master is saying step very intuitively when you go forward. Okay? That's what I have. I hope that vibed. I hope that made sense. What we got coming up here. What's today? Thursday? Tomorrow, I think we've got a What the Friday 5-card spread. And I might do one of zodiac signs. What are we up to? I think we've got Sagittarius next. Didn't I just do Scorpio? So we might have Sagittarius coming up next. So I hope we vibed with that. Thanks for sticking with me until I see you again in the next reading. Okay, thanks. Bye.